Steve, thank you very, very much indeed for that very moving and meaningful talk. I think you are a wonderful ambassador for giving. Steve has agreed to answer some questions. We have about 10 minutes and there are roving mics around. So if you raise your hand and wait for the mic to come to you once I've pointed at you. And when you ask the question, could you please say your name and where you're from, please? So who's the first person to ask the question? Yes. Gentleman there.
Hello, Andrew Lane at Thames Community Foundation, a trustee there. The thing I'd like to ask you is how, so getting at wealth in the city, even in these days, there's still a lot of money in the city, and there are a lot of people from a very prosperous generation who've retired on their pensions of $500,000 a year and all that sort of thing. And it's still quite a small minority of those people who actually decide to do what you and others have done, which is to give it away, and a lot of them seem content to spend it on things, leave it to their children, whatever it may be. Now, how do you start engaging with that group of people?
Well, the classic answer is, of course, with difficulty. If someone has not ever given to anything, their Boy Scout movement or whatever it is, it's not really easy to get them to give mega millions to charity or a community foundation now. So giving has to start very early. And so it is a question of talking with young people as they start in the financial sector. One thing that I'm doing as ambassador is getting philanthropy into the Lord Mayor's speech, and the Prime Minister attends that, and I'm pretty sure I can make that happen, because the Lord Mayor's is elected by the livery companies, 110 of them, and so that will cascade down through the city. I don't expect some immediate impact at all, but the more people speak together in a fellowship of philanthropists and say, look, this is fun, this is the way to do it, this is the way to have a good lifestyle, rather than incredible spend, the better. I think people are also beginning to realize that leaving vast sums of money to your family is not a kind thing to do. Yes, of course, I mean, Bill Gates has said he'll leave 10 million to each of his children, but that's still small money in terms of his wealth. And wealth can ruin a person's life, as well as the lack of wealth can incentivize it. So watch this space, see if I can make a difference. There are other people working in that space, really trying to spread the pleasure that they get from giving away their earnings, big earnings. So it's not just me on my own.
Thank you. Lady here.
Hello, Anne Boyd, Scottish Community Foundation. We are beginning to see a new kind of young entrepreneurial donor who doesn't understand the tradition of what is a government's responsibility and what is private philanthropy's responsibility. They don't see any difference between the two. Neither do they understand the traditional definition of charitable. So we are moving into things like economic regeneration, that kind of thing. How will the government and the legal framework accommodate this new kind of young entrepreneurial philanthropist?
I don't think as yet they've even started to appreciate what is going on. They really don't have that understanding of modern charity, modern incentives, whereas your community network does. There's another thing that's happening with business people. When you talk to business people of my generation and younger about corporate social responsibility, I've mentioned the Percent Club and so on, they realise that it's good for staff and good for business. when you talk to young business people about corporate social responsibility, they're really not interested at all. But if you ask them about their business, they immediately start talking in terms of how their staff are motivated, how they source their materials, how they look after their customers, in fact, with CSR type of measures. So there are a lot of changes going on, and this is one of the importances of modern technology, because that's how the young people think. And the Fellowship of Philanthropists, I think, will allow that to spread, because when you talk with a philanthropist who has a totally different approach to giving to your own, you think, my goodness, yes, you can. Oh, that's good. That's interesting. I'll try that. Because we share good practice and we share the mistakes that we've made, only if not too many people are listening, but the awful mistakes that we've made, we can say, well, don't do that because it doesn't work. So I'm a great believer in that community of sharing experience, in the community of philanthropists and a network such as this. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, gentleman there.